Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Off Point. My name's Les Steed.
I'm Marlon White.
And today we are talking about alcohol and drinking. Obviously, being British, we're both, well, we're not anymore. We've kind of grown up with alcohol as a sort of social thing. And, you know, like my condition of ADHD means that I tend to be prone to these sort of behaviours where it's nice to kind of get out your head a little bit. So a bit of background on it. My drinking has been pretty consistent since I was a teenager. I'd say that I consume a little bit over the limit. The NHS recommends you have 14 units a week. I'd say I easily double that on an average, well, not an average week, but, you know, like quite easily, quite often. Right. Would graze more than that, I would say. How about you?
I was like that as well. At one point, I was drinking, a litre of whiskey a week,
Bloody hell.
A couple bottles of wine a week.
What, within the same week?
Yeah, within the same week.
That's a lot worse than what I was talking about.
What I was doing is I wouldn't drink during the week because obviously I have work and everything. But then, like, as soon as Friday hits, I would do my weekly shop on Friday, and it was like got to a point where it was like a routine of just buying a bottle of whiskey or rum, like a litre of that, a couple bottles of wine, and then just drinking from Friday night until Sunday night.
Fuck.
So I was doing that consistently for, I don't know, about a couple of years still.
Really?
Yeah, so I was doing that.
You still managed to get a wife?
Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
Hey, like, that's a blind eye and a half.
Well, I wasn't like, I wouldn't consider myself like an alcoholic or anything like that. It's just, I have a high tolerance, so
you built like a brick shit house, so it's probably quite. I mean, so for those of you who aren't able to see, Marlon's what, 6'8", 6'6"?
No, I'm 6 foot, just under 6'6".
How much do you weigh?
I'm not gonna answer that now. I've still got a bit of COVID weight on.
About 9. Yeah, so you can easily. We're over 100 kilos, right?
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. So I'm only about 85.
Yeah.
You know, because I actually went on a diet. Yeah. So like, at what point would you consider that you'd had an alcohol? Was the point where you were like, I'm going to stop drinking because I have an alcohol problem?
I had a couple of like health issues, not like majorly health issues, but I mean, I had to go to the doctors a couple of times for a few things. So that what kind of made, I'm not gonna go directly into what happened, but that what sort of made me sort of say, "I'll give it drinking."
Yeah, that's quite good. Yeah. I mean, like, because for me, it's I've never really had a direct health issue. I kind of know that it's looming there because I know that, you know, being I don't think, I was thinking about this the other day, and I can't remember a week in which I haven't had a drink.
Yeah.
I just full stop. I mean, I think that maybe once or twice in the last 15 years. Yeah. And that's crazy because it's like, but I think that, you know, off camera we were discussing about why, because when we wrote this episode, it was quite an interesting point. And ironically, we were having a pint over it. Right. And right now, you know, I'm having a gin and juice because it's kind of nice. So like, I think that one of the things that we said was that it's got a lot to do with the social behaviour in the UK and sort of Western cultures, where I think that there's less of a stigma about it because it's more of a social thing. Everyone kind of lets their guard down a bit, and I think in England we're all quite uptight. We're not very open like Americans or Australians. So I think having that little glass of wine or having, you know, going for a pint is like
me and you haven't met up that much since
your stag do.
Yeah, since the stag do, which was last November.
That's horrendous.
But we met up a few months ago, and I quit drinking by that point, but we still went out for a drink. So you was drinking like beer.
Yeah, I was drinking beers, and you were having like an expensive ass sparkling water.
Yeah, I was having
£2 for a sparkling water. Are you high?
Yeah.
You know, I was like, nope, you haven't tapped.
My point is that just the whole culture behind it is like, when you meet up with your friends, it's just you gotta have a drink. So for me, it's been a bit weird because I have other people that want to meet up. Like one of my best man at my wedding wanted to meet up with me, but I don't drink anymore, so I don't know what we're gonna do. Well,
I mean, you have other cultures. Like I was living in Indonesia for a while, and they would go for a meal. But I think that in England, if you're going for a meal, it's going to cost you about £12 a course. So, you know, for a main. So it's like, it's a lot cheaper. It's traditionally, I think it was a lot cheaper. Yeah. Nowadays it's like £6 a pint in London. So it's not really cheap once you've had 2 pints.
And I think we discussed the whole social aspect about it in this country where, for two blokes, two guys like me and you, it's
it would be weird if we went for a meal.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
It would just be awkward. Yeah. I don't know. Like it's an awkward. I wouldn't mind going and do some sport thing, but if you're in a squash court playing squash, it's hard to talk.
Exactly.
It is. But so I think that you hit that point where you're like, all right, that's it, I'm done. How are you finding being sober?
At first it was weird because it became part of my just routine. So it became like I wouldn't drink that much during the week.
No.
But then it got to the point where like Friday just buy my alcohol and start drinking. But so it got weird when I hit that Friday now. I was like, what do I do? Like I have no outlet to release my stress. I have nothing to what do I do? That's when it got a bit weird because usually Friday get all my alcohols together, start drinking. But it got weird where I have nothing, so I'm like, what do I have? Like get some peanuts, get some juice or something.
Is it like almost like giving up smoking then?
Yeah.
Where you have to kind of replace the habit with a different habit?
I don't know. When I gave up smoking, because I used to smoke occasionally as well. I was just able to stop smoking. It wasn't really. I think it's the routine of just doing something at the same time every day. I'm a person that loves my routine. I like to do things at exactly the same time every day. I have my coffee at the same time every day. I go to the gym the same time every day. I eat my dinner pretty much around the same time every day.
So it's predictable.
So yeah, I like my routine. I like to do things with a routine. Without routine, I go to shit.
You see, I'm permanently not routine.
Yeah, I'm the type of person with like when I don't have a routine, I completely I fall apart without a routine just because. I need order. As soon as I have no order, everything falls apart in terms of my...
Do you find that gives you anxiety and you find yourself... I mean, when you say falls apart, what actually happens?
Basically, without any routine for me, like, I won't go to the gym, I won't eat healthy, I won't do what I'm supposed to do. For me to be productive, I need to find myself into a routine. Because I guess, I don't know, maybe I'm a bit lazy. Maybe I'm a bit like...
I wouldn't say you're lazy.
Yeah, I don't know.
Look at you've set up all of this lot, so that's not a lazy person.
Yeah, I don't know what you would call it, but without that routine of me saying, okay, I'm going to do this at the same time every day, I start to fall apart without... I don't know why it is. It's just... I'm the type of person, I'm like... For example, I'm having a cheat day this weekend.
Ooh, crazy times.
Yeah, I'm having a cheat day, so I've been eating like... But like for me, my wife always goes to me like, why can't you just have a few things? Why do you have to go mental?
Yeah.
And I'm like, once I'm off the wagon, I'm off.
Yeah.
And that's how I am. So that's what I was doing. That's how I am with the whole like how I am in life. Just once things go bad, I go bad. I ride it till the wheels fall off.
Yeah.
So yeah, with the whole drinking thing, it started off like really small because I started my keto diet 2 years ago. And you can drink on keto, but not that much.
Yeah, it's quite heavy carbs.
Yeah. It's not the carbs. You can find alcohol that has low carbs in it. But what alcohol does is a toxin, so your body has to stop its functions to deal with the toxin. So it stops your ketosis to deal with the toxin in your body. So you kind of knock yourself out of ketosis because your body is trying to deal with this thing, the
poison.
The foreign like poison in your system. So that's why you shouldn't really drink that much on keto, but you can drink. So that's how I got into drinking red wine. You can have like a glass or two of red wine. Yeah. So
do you find that if you have a bottle in the house, you just can't ignore it?
No, I've got bottles right now.
Oh yeah, we've got one right in front of us actually. Yeah. The irony.
It's not that. It's I guess with me, it just started on a Friday night when this is before we went into lockdown and everything. It started where I could just. I'll have a glass. I'll buy a bottle of wine and have 2 glasses over the weekend, and that was fine for me.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I've got. I'm a bit different. I'm more of a interest-driven person because of the way my brain works, and I think that because of that, like while I have basic routines and stuff like that, I find it very difficult to do the same thing twice. That's why, for example, when I do have a routine, it doesn't last longer than 6 weeks or 3 weeks. I did, for example, go to. Have a thing on a Saturday where I'd go to the gym, do a class, do yoga, and then do meditation. But that lasted about 4 weeks. It was great for me. I really enjoyed it. But at the same time, then life just keeps getting in the way. Crazy shit just keeps happening whenever I put my head above the parapet. But with the drinking thing, I find that is one of the very few routines in my life. But it's not constant. So, for example, I would have my drinking. I mean, I can easily sit with a bottle of whiskey in my living room and just not go for it because I think a lot of it can be from boredom. Yeah. But when you've if you're sociable or if you're emotional, I think it's emotional because I know that when I'm upset or when I'm depressed or whatever, I'll drink more, which I know is counterproductive because it just gives you the blues the next day. Yeah. But it's hard because it's just because you're bored. Yeah. You're sitting there, it's like I've got to do something here. My brain's pinging off, and especially with the ADHD thing before I was medicated. It's a lot of people with ADHD tend to self-medicate with booze, and I think that had a lot to do with why I was always the most drunk, or why I was always, like on a night out, for example, at uni when we would go there, I was always getting kicked out before anyone else because I'd get accidentally plastered, and also because they didn't like me. But yeah.
I guess with me, it just sort of escalated. As I said, I was only having 1 or 2 glasses over the weekend, and then it went from just the 1 or 2 glasses of wine to eventually having the stronger stuff and drinking more. So it was weird because I used to be the same like you. I used to have like a bottle of whiskey or whatever in the house, and then, unless I was going out or doing something, because I would only drink when I was socializing outside.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, it's a bit like smoking, isn't it? It's like, you can have a social ciggy, but it's when you start having one for breakfast.
Yeah, exactly. So that's how that's the change that happened for me. So I went from, I could have a bottle of whiskey or whatever in the house and that'd be fine. It was there for months if I don't go out for months.
Did you find that living with your wife has changed that habit or helped to change that habit?
I don't know. I started the habit when I was at my mum's, just having a glass or 2 of wine on the weekend.
I mean, that's quite normal.
Yeah.
It's very normal.
I know, it was very normal. But then I guess that combined with a bit of depression as well, kind of created like, I started increasing the amount of alcohol I was having. So I went from having just the glass or 2 of wine to having a glass or 2 of whiskey, and then having half a bottle of whiskey on a Friday night instead of.
It's not that much.
Yeah,
really.
it's not that much.
But that's the weird thing is that I'm saying it's not that much because I know that when I had when my ex-fiance broke up with, when I had a breakup with my ex-fiance, it was in late December. By Christmas, I drank a bottle and a half of cognac I drank a bottle of cognac in a day and a half. And my brother just sat there next to me. I was playing PlayStation, being a miserable shit, trying my best not to cry my eyes out. And I was really hurt by that. And I don't think I've ever hurt like that before. But then, it was really weird because it was like, I was just doing it to numb that emotional response. And I think that but I think that that's the issue though, really, is that when you're having a hard time in life, it's easier to, you try to escape, not just, you can't escape your environment. When you can't escape your environment, you try to escape your head. Yeah. And I think that that's why you end up with a lot of people who are on the streets, who do become substance abusers, because they've got all that time to do nothing in. Yeah. And what are you supposed to do? You can't, you have to kind of either get into or out of your head. Yeah. And that's the really difficult thing. I think mental health has a lot to do with the way people drink. Yeah. But I also think because of the repressive nature of our society, socially repressive, because, for example, faux pas can be so subconscious that other cultures don't pick up on it. I know that I've got a few friends who are foreign. I'm still teaching sarcasm to my French friend. She's lived here 5 years.
They don't get it, no.
Well, she's getting it. She'll get there. I'm very proud of her. But but it is that kind of thing. Anyway,
and I guess I guess what talking to my doctor, and he's like, how much units of alcohol do you have per week? And I couldn't even tell him how much, and I kind of just sort of told him how much I was drinking, and he couldn't even calculate it off the top of his head. Yeah, how much.
It's meant to be 14 units.
Yeah, but I think it's 21 for men or 14.
No, I think they've brought it down to 14 for everybody. Just if they set the bar nice and low, then everyone feels guilty.
Yeah. So so you couldn't even calculate how much that I'm drinking. He's like, oh, you're drinking way over what you're supposed to be drinking.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah. And you just got that. There was that, but
there's always that excuse. There's always like a different birthday party, or there's different things going on that weekend, or it's just one of those. It just happened. Yeah,
and I don't think I'm not planning to give up alcohol forever. It's just for a period of time, just like give my body a chance to recover and just kind of just resume normal drinking habits. I think it's dangerous when you're going through something in your life to have alcohol as a crutch. I think once you get over or learn to deal with certain things in your life, then you can resume to drinking normally and whatever. I think when you're going through certain issues in your life, like alcohol combined with that can be very dangerous, really.
So you're saying that stress is a major factor to your drinking as well? Because I find that is.
I think especially with lockdown, because
that was horrible.
You're working from home, and mostly won't go into this episode, but I had issues with my job. So I'm working from home. I'm going through hell with my job, but it's in my home.
I mean, it was basically gaslighting.
Yeah. So it's in my home. I'm trapped. I have nowhere to really go. So I'm working in my home. I'm literally living in my workplace, living in hell.
Yeah, that's horrible.
And the only way to escape is to drink.
Yeah, because you're not allowed outside.
Yeah, exactly. You're not allowed to go anywhere. And so we got from, as I was mentioning, I was drinking on the Friday all the way through to the Sunday, but then occasionally it started creeping in the week, like on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Was that when your wife was a bit like, all right, enough? Did she have a factor in this, or was it completely independent?
She did. She was saying it, but then I'll kind of be like, oh, I don't have a problem. I can stop whenever I want.
Yeah, it has to come from you. I think it's when you sort of sit there and you realise, hang about, I shouldn't be throwing up.
So she would say it, and I'll kind of shut her down. And I still don't think I have a problem drinking.
No, you clearly don't, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to just give it up for 6 months. I mean, I
don't think I have a problem. It's just
you'd be on the.
I think it was causing. I think it caused the problem. It was causing the problem. I don't think I have a problem with alcohol.
So would you say that you kind of dealt with your drinking as part of sort of trying to build yourself, or would you say that it kind of became a point where you sort of found yourself feeling like you hit rock bottom in a way? But that's such a cliche.
Yeah, I don't think I hit rock bottom. I just felt like it was causing health issues, causing other problems. So I'm like, why continue doing it?
Yeah, I think I found the same thing with smoking. I used to smoke quite a lot in Indonesia. I still, have quite a few cigarettes, more than I'd like to admit. But I think that, what I found with smoking and drinking and stuff, because I was in Indonesia, it was very difficult to get hold of beer at points, because they kept changing the laws to make it more and more difficult. But I gave up smoking completely from October through till January 2014, 2015, I don't know. But I had, like a lot of drama going on as always. And I found that I drank more. So I started leaning on, I'd probably go from like coming back from school, I was a teacher, to come back from school at sort of like 4 or 5 in the afternoon, because we start at 6. And I'd just kind of find myself a bit bored, couldn't really go outside for a cigarette because there's no point. It was hot in my living room, so I'd just be like, all right, well, I don't want to sit here and watch TV because there's nothing on TV. It's before Netflix even. And I ended up just like, well, okay, like just had one beer, and then one beer turned into 2 beers, and the next thing you know is it's a lovely sunny day, but you're kind of half drunk and it's Tuesday. Right. But I think though that when I started smoking again after my best mate came over in that January, and and I kind of fell back into smoking a little bit for a while, and I found that I drank less under those circumstances. But then you have that social element, like we were saying, where it's like, do you want to go for a meal/drink? Yep, sure. And there's like the next thing you know is 8 people around you.
And it's hard, especially with the whole drinking culture. Yeah. I can only just imagine. That's why I've been avoiding meeting up with certain people, because I can only imagine going out with people and I'm like, I'm not drinking. They're like, come on, just have a drink. Just have one. And
then, people find it difficult.
Yeah, people don't understand why you're stopping, and then you don't really want to explain why you're stopping. It becomes a whole big old thing.
Yeah.
And
a
bit like, I don't know.
It might be also to do with them, because it's like I found that when I was in Germany with my ex, who was Indonesian, she wasn't a drinker. She never would drink anything. She'd have like 2 sips of beer and be plastered, like embarrassing, sort of carry her home type wasted, after like a quarter of a beer. So we would drink. I was like, well, let's go for a beer together, because that's our culture. Yeah. And she was like, okay, let's go for a beer. And then we sat in this beautiful bar, lovely place, lovely big German beer, and she bought me a beer. And I was like, well, you're not having one. She goes, no, you enjoy your beer. And I sat there with a pint feeling super awkward, just because it felt a bit like drinking was now a thing, and it wasn't. It was just normal behaviour. But because she wasn't drinking, I felt like I was doing something a bit naughty. Yeah. It's a bit like if I'd sparked a joint there or something like that, and you're just like sitting there. It's like, like no one gives a shit, but you're still kind of, you feel like a bit awkward about it.
And I'll be honest with you as well. Like I haven't said this to anybody else, but I mean, the reason why I didn't meet up with you guys, I think, when did you guys meet up? A few months ago?
No, not really. I don't remember.
I think you guys met up with
yeah. I haven't seen us in a while.
Haven't you?
I don't think I went.
But anyway, the reason why I said I was busy, but I wasn't actually busy.
You bastard!
Yeah, they don't actually know I did.
How dare you, Sack?
But so basically, my friends from university wanted to meet up. I told them I was busy when I wasn't really busy, just because I didn't meet up with them because I didn't want to drink. That's the whole reason I told I was busy.
Yeah,
and I just didn't want to go into that I'm not drinking.
I mean, yeah, but then again, I don't think anybody would have cared. It would have been like, all right, well, he's just having Coca-Colas instead of.
No, but I think it would have been an issue that, oh, you're not drinking and all that, and then it would have been like
I think it would have been more of a question.
Trying to like push you into drinking. I was just worried about that, so I just thought, let me remove myself from the equation. And I don't think there's any special events coming up in terms of going out, so I think I'll be safe for the few months. But I mean, that's part of the reason why I didn't want to come out, because. Yeah.
I mean, I think that it can be very awkward. Yeah. But I think, again, that relates to the whole social thing, and I think that, like, the big question really is like, is it an individual thing, and is it, because it's like, I think that either it's an emotional crutch to use something that's going to change the way your brain works, or it's going to be a social circumstance in which it seemed acceptable around you. And I think though that, I mean, equally though, it's a bit like diet. It's a bit like becoming a vegan. Yeah. It's like it restricts where you can and can't go.
Yeah, it does, really does. Like, because obviously, not to go on about keto again, but
sure.
Yeah, that does impact in terms of social behavior. For example, if you say, "Oh, let's go to an Italian or a pizza restaurant,"
Ugh.
I might have to say I can't go just because I know I won't be able to eat anything there.
Yeah, like maybe a salad or something.
Yeah.
In which case, it's a bit shit if everyone else is getting these delicious
Yeah.
pizzas. But then again, I think that's more of a personal choice.
Yeah.
But it's also so it's not drinking. But I think that like it'd be a bit.
Sometimes,
awkward,
sorry to cut you. Like sometimes it's just exhausting explaining yourself.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Sometimes I would just I'm just not going because I can't. I just don't want to explain. I just say I can't. I'm busy or something because it's just exhausting sometimes explaining yourself that I don't want to drink. I don't want to eat this food. If I go out with you guys, I'm gonna be tempted to eat this. Or drink this.
But I mean, is that more important than the company you're keeping? That's the other issue. It's like, would you rather kind of do this for yourself?
Yeah.
And maybe your friends will be disappointed, or maybe not invite you out the next time. Of course, we will.
Yeah.
But or is it sort of because that's also the kind of thing you face. It's like is this worth doing for me to this extent that my friends might be impacted by my decisions? Yeah. I think that. I mean, my brother's a vegetarian.
We're not gonna invite him out because he's not gonna want to come.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of the way it ends up being, but I don't think that would be the case because it's obviously, you're doing it for a reason. And we just need to make sure that everyone understands what the crux is. I mean, I think that if I turned around to you guys and said, "Look, I've got liver cancer, I can't drink," I don't think I'd lose any friends under the circumstances.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah, come on, you pussy. It's only a bit of cancer. Prick.
Get a donation, man.
Exactly. It's like, come on, you can have half of my liver. Jesus Christ. No, but I really hope it doesn't get to that stage. I think though that sometimes, like when we get used to doing stuff, it becomes a little habit, and that little habit becomes routine, as you say, and then you're not so much dependent on that, but it's more like an easy sort of mental sort of pathway. Anyway, I think we've gone on about this long enough. What about you?
Yeah, I think we've covered like pretty much
everything. Yeah. Okay, so what's your opinion on drinking, and why do you drink? Let us know in the comment section below, or just I don't know. Do we have an email?
Oh, we do have an email. Yes.
All right, don't email that because the internet's mean. It's really mean. Just find it and tell us what your opinions.
I also want to mention that we're gonna start a new YouTube channel. Our current YouTube channel, we've kind of repurposed it for my cooking channel. So
selfish bastard.
Yeah, we're gonna start a new new YouTube for this channel. I'm also looking to add a few other podcasts to the YouTube channel as well. So check that out. So hopefully by the time you hear this episode, we'll have a bunch of new content. I'm gonna put our old episodes on this new YouTube channel, plus these episodes. So just look out for that in the near future.
That will damage my career. Lovely. All right, cool. Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Pleasure talking to you. Bye.
Bye.